Chapter 1 notes, evaluating expressions. There will be times when an expression or an equation will contain variables where we will want to plug in a value for that variable and then solve that expression or equation. Basically, we just follow the order of operations. One thing that can help is if the number or the value that you're putting in place of the variable is put into parentheses. That'll help you sort out what has to happen next. So in this situation, we're going to follow directions here. It says replace the variable with the appropriate number in parentheses. And we're going to evaluate the following if x equals 3 and y equals -2. So any place in these expressions that have an x, we're going to replace it with a 3. And any place that has a y, we'll replace it with a -2. So example A, 5x. A number next to a variable means multiplication. So I'm going to replace that x with a 3 in parentheses. So that means I have to do 5 times 3, and obviously 5 times 3 is 15. Example B, we have x squared, or x to the second power. So again, I'm going to replace the x with a 3, and I'm going to put it in parentheses. So now I have 3 to the second power, which is 3 times 3, it's a good refresher, and 3 times 3 is 9. Example C, I have y to the second power, or y squared. This time though, y is -2, so I'm going to put that -2 in parentheses. And -2 squared means I'm going to take -2 times -2. And -2 times -2 is +4. Now, I'm going to say a couple more things about example C. Whenever you're squaring a negative number like this, you have to be careful. If you took your calculator and just typed in exactly what I've written there, -2 to the second power, the calculator is going to tell you the answer is -4. Because the calculator will literally do the order of operations exactly right. And to the calculator, when you type in -2 without a parentheses and then square it, it is only squaring the 2. It's not squaring the negative sign as well. So if you were entering this on a calculator and wanted to get the correct answer, you'd have to use parentheses. That tells the calculator I'm squaring the negative sign as well as the 2. So I get -2 times -2, which gives me 4. So the use of parentheses on the calculator is extremely important. You will get the wrong answer if you don't use parentheses. Example D, we have 5x minus 3y. So I'm going to replace the x with a 3 and the y with a -2. Now, this is one of those situations where I think it's helpful to change this subtraction problem, the subtraction sign there in the middle, to change that to adding the opposite. So the problem becomes 5 times 3 plus, and then make the 3 negative, -3 times -2. I think that makes it a little more clear that what I'm doing now is multiplying 5 times 3 and getting 15. And then I'm multiplying -3 times -2, which gives me +6. Then 15 plus 6 would be 21. So you just have to be careful when you have a subtraction sign like that. I think it's easier to deal with it by making it adding the opposite. Example E, we have 3x squared. Okay, so I'm going to replace the x with a 3 in parentheses and then the squared. So in this problem, realize the only thing being squared is the x. Okay? Because in the problem, they didn't put a parentheses around the 3 and the x together. So the only thing getting squared is the x. So the only thing getting squared here is this 3. So I would do 3 squared first. That's 3 times 3, or 9. And then I would multiply by that 3 that's in front of it. And 3 times 9 would be 27. So just be careful on that. The thing to remember is this problem and this problem are not the same. Okay? They're not the same. In the one on the left, only the x is getting squared. The one on the right, the 3 and the x are being squared. So just be careful with that. Example F. Now I have a bunch of things going on in this one. I have 5 times x squared, and x is a 3. And then I have subtract 3 minus or times y squared. So 3, and the y is -2, and I'm squaring it. So I put the -2 in parentheses. This is another one where I would prefer to make that subtraction sign be a addition and then add in a negative sign by the 3 just to keep things straight. So order of operations says I have to do the power first, the exponents. So I do 3 to the second is 9. Remember 3 times 3. And over here I would do -2 squared, which is 4. And then I have 2 multiplications to do. I have 5 times 9 is 45. And I have -3 times 4 is -12. And now I take 45 plus -12, which is 33. So when you're evaluating expressions, where you're replacing a variable with a number, my suggestion is you always place that number in parentheses as you put it into the equation or expression, and then after that you simply follow the order of operations. Good luck.